Welcome to another episode of Legally Speaking with Case, where we simplify complex topics for everyday listeners. In this episode, we are unpacking the NDPS Act, India's primary law on drugs and narcotic substances. From what substances are regulated to how law treats users, traffickers, and even those unknowingly involved, there's a lot to understand. Joining us today is Advocate Rishika Chahar, who will walk us through the legal framework, offences, enforcement procedures, and key challenges under the NDPS Act. First of all, welcome to you, Advocate Rishika, and thank you for being a part of today's podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this wonderful podcast from your team.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
My,
Yes, please go ahead. You were saying.
okay, so NDPS Act, as you know, it's a very strict law. If we come
Yeah.
to any criminal law, now, so NDPS Act basically it's a very, very strict law. I mean, it follows all the rigorous and very stringent punishment are given in NDPS Act, and because of the high usage of drugs in our country. Like before 1985, there was no law on the controlling of the drugs and psychotropic substance.
Right.
So after 1985, only NDPS Act was the act which was controlling all the production, distribution, sale, purchase,
Hmm.
import and export of drugs and psychotropic substances.
Okay. So,
And
yeah.
previously, like your marijuana, your charas, ganja, cannabis, poppy straw, they all were very legal.
Okay.
The drugs which are obtained naturally, people
Hmm.
were like consuming. I mean, they were like easily available on all the grocery shops. If you go in the society before 1985, all this bhang, charas, your cannabis, everything, coca leaves, opium, like people were doing like farming very comfortably without any legal obligation.
Hmm.
So it was very easy. So just to control all such things, this law was meant so that society can function properly. And India is also a part of a UN convention. So
Okay.
just because of signing that UN India is a UN signatory in that convention. So it was like the very, very important for India to formulate any law to control drugs and psychotropic substance. So
Right, right. So would you say
very,
these were the two main objectives of why the act was introduced in India? To
yes, yes,
control
yes, yes,
substance
yes.
use, and because we're a signatory in a convention which mandates
Basically, no,
us to have a law, I am assuming.
yeah, yeah, I mean, like there was a lot of abuse of these drugs.
Right, right. And under the NDPS Act, which all drugs are included? If you could specify that to us all.
See, NDPS has classified categories. So
Hmm.
basically, one is the your narcotics drugs, and other one is the psychotropic
Okay.
substance. So
Okay.
narcotic drugs includes your opium, poppy straw, cocoa leaves, and its derivatives. And your psychotropic substance includes all this MDMA, LSD, trypsum.
Okay.
So the major difference is basically the narcotic drugs, they induce sleep,
Okay.
and your psychotropic substance, they control your mind,
Mind.
behavior.
Hmm.
And psychotropic substance, basically they are synthetic and semi-synthetic, so they are more harmful.
Right. Yeah. And then can you walk us through the different categories of offenses under the NDPS Act? So, from possession to trafficking,
Yes,
what are the offenses?
yeah. Basically, like the possession part, if anybody is, see in NDPS Act,
Hmm.
quantity mean the person can be included in any litigation if he is in possession,
Hmm.
or he is in consumption, or he is in trafficking of the drugs. So if we come to the possession part, if anybody is caught in the possession of a small quantity,
Hmm.
then that person will be liable for 1 year of imprisonment and 10,000 of fine.
Okay.
And if the person is found in the if the person found in the possession of intermediate quantity. Intermediate quantity basically means the quantity which is slightly higher than the smaller quantity and slightly less than the commercial quantity.
Okay.
So in that, the imprisonment will amount to 10 years of rigorous imprisonment and 1 lakh rupees pound. And if anybody is in possession of any commercial quantity, mean 10 kg of ganja or something like that, because 10 kg of ganja, it comes in the commercial quantity, then it is 10 to 20 years of rigorous imprisonment and 1 to 2 lakh rupees fine, and sometimes both.
Right.
And it will also, it depends on the discretion of the court. If it is in the aggravated form, so even they can fine more, they
Hmm.
can charge more.
Hmm. So, I mean, I'm sure there must be degrees. Like, if someone's been trafficking drugs for a very long time,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
there will be
See, the
more
trafficking
punishment.
part, even the harboring the trafficker,
Yeah.
even harboring, giving shelter, any
Hmm.
kind of conspiracy, aiding them. So, I mean, if you are harboring a person who is engaged into a illicit drugs trafficking, it will amount to 20 to 30 years of imprisonment and 1 to 2 lakh rupees fine.
So, I was asking you that, if someone is not a regular user and, they've been caught for the first time consuming a drug, then what are the offenses or what punishment are they liable for?
The see if the person is like if he is caught for the first time, so the court sees the overall record of the person that if he is not a habitual offender, he has consumed it for the first time. So the court just for the sake of the person who has consumed for the first time, they just give some sort of concession like we are giving you the first and the last warning, and you are not a regular offender.
Yeah.
So in that case, they just leave the accused, they just give the bail, or they just leave the accused on by giving the warning.
Hmm.
So leniency is there only in the case of small quantity.
Okay.
But when it comes to the commercial quantity or when it comes to the intermediate quantity, whether you know what you're carrying, what you're taking, the intention and knowledge, it doesn't play a very major role because it's a strict law, and this law contains the strict liability just to create the deterrence in the society.
Hmm. So,
So in that case, it is not easy for anybody to give any excuse and say anything.
so the quantity in this act really matters. I would imagine that how much a
Yes, yes,
quantity of some
yes.
whatever drug or whatever substance it is that they're
See,
carrying.
see, you can get the list of substances and the quantity
Yeah.
mentioned in the schedules in the official gadget of the state government and center government. They amend all these schedules each and every year
Hmm.
because every year there are new drugs are manufactured in the market. So accordingly they modify. So,
Right.
but now the situation is that you can't sell all these things very easily. For that, you need to obtain license permissions from all the government authorities.
Right. And previously when we were talking, you mentioned that the act, aims to actually in a positive manner and not to punish those who say are using smaller quantities. So, what are the provisions for, say, rehabilitation? Are there any provisions for rehabilitation under the NDPS Act?
See, there are like provisions mentioned in the NDPS Act where focus is to rehabilitate the accused
Mhm.
because Indian criminal law, it is a accused friendly law.
Hmm.
And whether it's NDPS Act or whether it's BNS, they always have the provision that you can leave 100 accused, but not even one innocent person to be punished.
Punished, yeah.
So this principle is also equally applicable in NDPS Act, but it is a strict law. Here you can't get any excuse. Mean if you are caught with any quantity, you need to give the explanation. The burden of proving of not knowing is on accused. Prosecution has no role in proving it.
Got it. Like, does the act also then recognize drug addiction, and then proper steps for what to do if someone, say, is dealing with addiction in relation to all these substances?
See, drug addiction again, it is a health problem. This law recognizes drug addiction as a health problem.
Okay.
It is equally a legal problem as well as a health problem.
Hmm.
So yes, they have certain plans. Even the state governments and center, they have made certain plans which are state funded and center funded, and the fund is being used for establishment of the rehabilitation center because the deprived class of society, they can't afford the treatment of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So for such people, government is very eager to organize multiple establishments so that they can get the de-addiction therapy on a very minimum cost.
Hmm. Hmm. So there are government-funded rehab centers where those who cannot
Yes, yes, yeah.
afford.
Even they have plans.
Okay.
They have plans and which are being launched at state level as well as the center level.
Right.
Even the state government can fund these rehabilitation center, and in case of shortage, they can also get the additional fund from the center.
Okay. Okay. That is good to know. And when, say, under this NDPS Act, what are the different procedures that law enforcement must follow, when they're conducting searches, seizures, or arrests?
See, basically the procedure is same as we follow in the BNSS.
Hmm.
See, the procedure is almost same in the cases of because it's a procedural law.
Yeah.
So all the acts they come under the procedural law when it comes to the criminal law. So main thing is the same that the accused person should be informed of his ground of arrest, how much quantity the police has recovered. Even the investigating officer or the IO, he has to inform his superior officer that what all things has been confiscated by his team.
Yeah.
Secondly, the magistrate can issue the warrant for the arrest of a person, and even without magistrate also the investigating officer can arrest the person if he has a relevant information.
Got it. Is other of offenses under this act non-bailable?
See, if the person is found guilty of a small quantity, it is a bailable
Okay.
offense. And if person is caught with the commercial quantity, then it's not bailable.
Then it's not bailable. Okay. Got it.
Under Section 37 of NDPS Act, it's not bailable.
Hmm.
The guilt of accused is to be proved by him. Mean burden of proof is on accused.
Okay. And what are the legal defenses available to someone under this act?
See, legal defenses basically in NDPS Act, if the person is caught in NDPS Act, now to get the defense is a very tough job.
Okay.
But still, everybody in our country has right to
Right.
prepare his defense. So yes, the defense what we can get in NDPS Act if there is a error on the part of investigating agencies like Narcotics and Control Bureau, if they have delay in collecting the evidences and filing the charge sheet. So sometimes the accused they get the default bail. And also if uh, they have not followed the right procedure for seizure, for collecting the evidences, mishandling the evidences, not sealing the evidences. They don't have the witnesses who can give their testimony. So yes, in that cases, because in NDPS Act also, there are the guidelines of Supreme Court. The procedure is to be followed strictly
Hmm. Right.
because it directly makes the person caught liable. And imprisonment is minimum 10 to 20 years. So again, it's a great burden on our judiciary system.
Yeah, that's true. And what does how does this act address, say, international drug trafficking, or are there provisions in this for cooperating with other countries? If there's, like a international drug trafficking happening, how does the act, consider that?
See, the Indian extradition policies help controlling all this drug trafficking in our country and across our borders, and all our forces, including custom, excise, Assam Rifles, even BSF, they play a very major role in controlling domestic drug trafficking and cross-border drug trafficking. And India has certain extradition policies with countries where if anybody caught in their country and if anybody caught in our country, they are directly sent to those countries. And in past also, many people have been arrested, like Abu Salim and all these
Yeah,
drug dealers have been arrested. So they have very good artificial intelligence, mean they have intelligence systems which share such important piece of information with the friendly countries, with the countries with we have our extradition policies.
yeah. I think we have explored most of the act and, how the law works, who it protects, who it punishes, why context matters, especially when we were talking about how quantity matters in this, how much you're carrying, uh, decides how much punishment you get and how serious the crime is. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end today's discussion?
I just want to say, like, today the youngsters, just for the sake of passion and excitement, they consume these things. But it's really very harmful for their health as well as harmful for our society. So just for the sake of partying and just for the sake of building the mood, I suggest all the youngsters in our society. Like the society used to have fun like 50 years back also. But nowadays, like youngsters, majority of the courts are filled by youngsters, especially juveniles who are consuming
Yeah.
all these substances. So I just request everybody in the society, all the elderly people in the society, just to take care of the youngsters in the family because these things are now very easily available in our society. Though it is bad, but still it is available.
Yeah.
So just keep watch on your children.
Okay, great. And with that, it wraps up our discussion on NDPS with Advocate Rishika Chahar. Thank you so much again, Advocate Rishika, for being with us, shedding a light on what this law covers, and also spreading the right kind of information. Um, Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Rashna. It was pleasure talking to your
Same here.
team and rest of the. I'm really grateful to rest the case for this podcast, and it is always a fun to come on the Rest the Case platform.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure for us to have you on our podcast. Give us all this information. And thank you so much to our audiences for tuning in. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rest the Case. We will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.